Hey, we're back on the topic again today with another controversial type video. But why is it controversial? Well, it's because we're going over my opinions yet again. And you know how well we react to other people's opinions. A few months ago, we went over my top 5 favorite Generation 5 Pokemon. It's been too long. Has it really? But I did want to continue on to Generation 6, so we'll jump to Kalos to reveal my favorites. Remember, this is opinion-based. So, while you can roast me in the comments below, I'd recommend you sharing your opinion on your favorites from Kalos in the comments instead. But that's beside the point. Let's go ahead and dive into my top 5 Pokemon from Generation 6, Pokemon X, and why. So if you haven't yet seen the other videos, a lot of these favorites of mine tend to be based off of the memories and battle prowess. The main problem this time is around when I was looking at my options and nothing really blew me away. Now, don't get me wrong, I like all 5 Pokemon here, but we're lacking any memory, sort of. So I might not have any memories to share. Perfect example is number 5, which is Goodra. Now, Goodra, I really like the concept. The pseudo-legendary of Generation 6. And, like I was saying, there's not much in the memory department for me. I've never really used it extensively in battle, never drafted it in a draft league. I did, however, hatch a 4 IV Shiny on my X back in the day. Can I call 2014 back in the day now? Wow, time flies! I feel like this list is going to be a lot of me saying how much I like certain Pokemon without any credentials to follow it up. Florges, on the other hand, circumvents such a problem. With the introduction of the Fairy-typed Pokemon, I was disappointed at first. You know, Dragon was one of my favorite types. Not my favorite, but it was up there. It took a while, but Florges slowly rose to being one of my favorite Generation 6 Pokemon. If you don't already know, I really like playing defensively. And in the Pokemon Global Leagues Season 3 and 4, I had Florges, and I really enjoyed using it both times. I just don't bring up Generation 3 because, that wasn't very fun to go through. A lot of people actually do not like this next Pokemon. They view the other two and think that this Pokemon is terribly designed, worthless, and not worth their time. Well, Delphox was worth my time. So far, X and Y have been the last Pokemon games that I went into blindly. It was a fun feeling discovering everything for the first time myself. I avoided leaks like the plague, at least the ones that came a month from the game's release. This means I didn't know what the starters' final evolutions looked like. I picked Fennekin, and when it finally evolved to Delphox, well, to put it bluntly, I was very disappointed. But that was only because I put my expectations way too high. Eventually, the design grew on me, and recently, Delphox has had a resurgence. With it being one of only 2 Pokemon to get the move Mystical Fire, it became a pretty good Pokemon for my Pokemon Global League Season 6 team. For some reason, I keep picking up low-tiered Pokemon and using them in ways that help my team greatly, and Delphox was the most recent example. These final 2 were pretty neck and neck. Okay, well, sword and neck. What? I just gave it away? Well, too bad. I was gonna give it away right now. Number 2 is Aegislash. Now, little did I know the power for the sword and shield. It was the staple of battling teams in X and Y. I enjoy using it. I really like the concept of the design. Some people continued to rage over the fact that it was an inanimate object and King's shield was broken, blah blah blah. But in comparison, it's a ghost taking over a shield and sword. This is not the first time that this has happened in regards to the ghost type inanimate objects. Regardless, I was disappointed the day when Smogon finally banned it to Ubers. I understood why it had to be done, because King's shield is broken, but alas. Between these last 2, there was one thing that pulled this Pokemon over Aegislash. Just barely. I'm not kidding. It was neck and sword for the top spot, but Greninja barely pulled it off. Before you assume anything, this has nothing to do with me fanboying over designs, concepts, or popularity. Yes, Greninja has a great design. Yes, Greninja has a cool concept. And yes, it's fun to use in battle. But so is Aegislash. But they were both banned to Ubers at one point in Generation 6. However, Greninja has been back as of Generation 7. No, the thing that pushed Greninja over the top was one certain event way back in July 2014. See, back then, a guy named Steve, aka Magnitude, you probably heard of him, asked on Twitter for someone to breed him a timid Protean Froakie. I had nothing else better to do, so I took him up on the offer. I then proceeded to hatch a shiny Froakie. In my excitement, I went to see its IV spread to find it was max IVs in everything, but special attack. Disappointed, I went to check an IV calculator and found out its special attack was 1 shy from max. In other words, it was pseudo-perfect. Shiny, timid Protean Froakie. It had been a while since the last time I got this lucky. I ended up naming it Jabari Parker. The NBA player Steve was excited about on the Milwaukee Bucks. Then Jabari Parker proceeded to tear his ACL that season. I'm sorry, Steve. And with that, those are my top 5 Generation 6 Pokemon. And instead of roasting me in the comments, tearing my ACL in the process, let me know what your favorite Generation 6 Pokemon are and why. I'd love to hear what you have to say. What's next for this series? Well, Generation 7, of course, but you won't see that until I can't find anything else to post. Ha 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 ha. I'm kidding. I hope to continue this series sooner than later, but in more ways than one. If you enjoyed and want to climb to the top, go ahead and smack the like button as high as it can go and subscribe to start the climb today. With that, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you back at the top later on because that's how we do what.